In this video, I'll be discussing how to start your Airbnb business in just 10 steps. 10 steps and get up and running in less than 24 hours. Hey guys, it's Jim G from JimG'sCoachingClub.com, and today you're going to learn how to start an Airbnb business, get it up and running in 24 hours, and all it's going to take is 10 simple steps. If you were a graduate of any business school, one of the things that you'd be thinking about is, in order to start a successful Airbnb short-term rental business, you would need to have an Airbnb business plan. However, I'm going to show you how to start an Airbnb short-term rental business, how to make money with Airbnb, and how to begin collecting your Airbnb income, all within the next 24 hours. Now here's my little caveat. It's not to say that you're going to start cashing checks or getting deposits in 24 hours. However, if you follow my steps, you can get your first booking within the next 24 hours. So with that said, let's go. But before we get started, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel for more helpful Airbnb tips and tricks and videos that I will be publishing that can help you not only start your Airbnb business, but eventually begin growing your Airbnb passive income to 6 figures like I've done in many of my students. If you enjoy this video and get value from it, please like and comment below. Don't forget to ring the notification bell below so that you can be notified whenever the new videos come out. Oh, and one other thing I forgot to mention is there's actually going to be 11 steps, because I'm adding a bonus step at the end that's an insider hack that most people won't tell you about, but it's gonna help you to begin getting your revenue a lot faster than most people get on Airbnb. Okay, so stick with me to the end and you're gonna see how much you'll be rewarded with that bonus, as well as my free video cheat sheet that you're going to have the ability to download. Okay, so let's get started. First things first, in order to get started, you do need to have a space in order for your guests to stay, and that could be a room, it could be an apartment, it could be a trailer, but as long as it's comfortable, safe, clean, and inviting, you'll be able to implement your Airbnb strategy. Step number 1, set up your host account. In order to get started with Airbnb, one of the things you're going to need is a host account. Click on the link here, and you'll also find it below that says JimG'sCoachingClub.com, become a host. When you click that link, it'll take you to the Airbnb website, directly to their host account, and I believe it also provides you with an incentive bonus in order for you to get started. When you're setting up your Airbnb host account, they're going to require you to upload a photo. They're going to want your name, your address, and your bank account information. Now, the beauty of that is you'll never have to collect any money from a guest. Airbnb will collect all the money from the guests prior to check-in, and 24 hours after check-in, they will deposit it, electronic funds, into your account. So that's something you want to make sure you do, and make sure it's done properly. That information is all secured inside of Airbnb platform, and no one will get it. Step number 2, add your bio. After you've added all of your sensitive information, to include name, date of birth, image, bank account, you're going to want to add your biography. You want to create a nice little biography about yourself, so that when guests are looking at you, they're going to see what it is you want them to know about you. So you want to make it nice, warm, and inviting. Step number 3, take a couple of decent pictures of your living space. Now, when it comes to pictures, you'll see a lot of people telling you that you have to have professional photos shot. It's not true. If you do the optimization right of the listing, then it doesn't necessarily need to have great photos, but you also don't want them to be horrible either. So what you can do is use your cell phone. Typically our cell phones have cameras that are more than adequate, and all you need to do is turn on all the lights in the home, turn on all the lights in the room that you're taking images of, open up all the window dressings so that you're getting the natural light in, and then just take a couple of pictures. Typically you want to stand in the far corner of the room, in the far corners of the room, in order to get the best images. Now, take an image of the bedroom, take an image of the kitchen, take an image of the bathroom, and take an image of the exterior. 4 images to begin, and then you can move on. Because you're going to go back and you're going to be able to add later. But you don't want to have to be so concerned about all the images in order to get yourself up and running online. Okay? Get your listing up and running. So, step number 4, you're going to list your space. Now that you've set up your host account, you're going to have the ability to go into Airbnb and list your property. Now, when listing your space, you need to decide if you're listing a private room inside of your home or your apartment or inside of your camper. Before you list your property, you need to determine if you're going to have shared housing arrangement or if you're hosting the whole space for the guests to stay. If it's a whole space, you're going to list the bedrooms, the kitchen, the living room, the dining room, the bathroom. So you're going to add those as part of the space if it's the whole house. You're also going to add the different amenities as well, such as if you offer laundry, if you offer free parking, if you have a pool, those kinds of things. If it's shared space, meaning you're giving the guest a private room where they'll have a lock and a key, and they will be sharing the common areas such as the bathroom, the living room, the kitchen, then what you're going to do is you're going to still put the address of the home, and then you're going to list the space with 1 bedroom. Along with the 1 bedroom, you're going to still list all the shared areas. So the kitchen, the living room, the bathroom, as well as all the amenities, as I mentioned earlier. Now, here's the thing. If there's more than 1 bedroom and you're looking to list each bedroom separately, after you finish that listing, then you would copy the listing and create a new listing, and you would name that room 2. So you would have room number 1 with all the amenities, same address, just be listed as room number 1 inside of that address. And then you would have room number 2, all the amenities, same address. And if you have more than 2 rooms, you would do the same thing and the same thing. Now, many people ask me, why would someone want to share space? Why would someone do that? Well, I can tell you, many of my listings are shared housing, right? But think about this. And so I know it works. I know that there's a niche, but it really isn't something that takes a genius to figure out, because think about most people that have their places on Airbnb. Most people that have their places on Airbnb are people that have a home, maybe just like you, or an apartment, maybe just like you, and they're just looking to earn a few extra bucks off of their extra space that they're not using. And so when they're welcoming guests, guests are coming in expecting to be staying with the person that lives in that home. So most guests that are coming into Airbnb are living in those shared spaces. The only difference is with what we do is that when we pick up properties, we're picking up properties and we're making all the spaces shared except for the bedroom. So they're private rooms inside of the space, and they're sharing with other like-minded business travelers that are coming for a purpose to your town, and they're looking for an affordable, clean, comfortable and safe space for them to sleep and shower as if they were in a hotel. But the difference is they're not paying hotel prices. So, step number 5. Now you're going to publish your listing and put it on snooze. Now, the reason why you're going to put it on snooze is because, remember, we only added 4 or 5 photos to the listing. So the listing is not exactly what we want. However, we don't want our listing to have to wait until we get all the photos uploaded or taken. So remember, I said we're going to get up and running in 24 hours, right? So what we're going to do is once you get all the details into your listing, you're going to hit the publish button. And once you've published it, all you're going to do now is put it on snooze. So now no one can see the listing because it's on snooze. And what this does, it now gives you the opportunity to optimize the listing. But now your listing is actually, it's live, but no one can see it. Step number 6. Now it's time to optimize the listing. The optimization of your listing is the key factor in you getting great placement inside of the Airbnb algorithm. Now, many people will say you have to have professional photos. It's not true. The key is if you describe your listing well, properly, if you have good prices, if you take decent images so that they can get a good enough feel for what's there, most people will book. And if you write your bio properly, most people could care less if the images are professionally done or not. As far as optimization of the images, a couple things you do want to do. You want your first photo to be a really good photo, right? So your first photo, you want it to be a good one. One of the other things you want to do, you want to go to Google and you want to pick up some nice photos, some images that you can use that depict the area that people are coming into. So if you're in New York, you want to maybe get some landscape shots of New York, some nice skyline shots of New York. If you're in Boston, you would do the same thing, and maybe some of the things that people are really coming there for, or when they get there, maybe they might want to visit the Statue of Liberty, the Empire State Building, things like that. And you want to add those to your listing. What you also want to do is you want to add the descriptions to your listing as well. So, and when you go back and take the rest of the pictures and begin uploading them into your listing, what you want to do is you want to have your photos in a way that when people are looking at your listing, it kind of walks them through the house. So you might want to show your exterior first, and then the bedroom, and then the kitchen, and then the living room, and the bathroom. So you can decide on the best way that you feel works for you. And you always want to have your best image first. And when you do that and you do it properly, what's going to happen is when you publish your listing, the Airbnb algorithm takes notice of people that are on their website looking at all the listings. And the things that they are looking for when they're going through your listing, if they slow down on the listing or if they click on the listing, Airbnb, their algorithm recognizes that. The more engagement you have on that listing, the more they're going to serve up that listing. Oh, and one other thing I forgot. I don't know how I forgot it. You want to give your listing a good title. Okay, you want to have a good title, and typically what I always tell people is be descriptive with your titles. Your titles, you want, for instance, a beautiful private room inside of warm home, right? Or a cozy, quaint private room near whatever the landmark is. And so whatever those things are that people are coming for, the attractions of your particular city, you want to add that to your title. So for instance, if you're close to that, or if you're near enough so that you're not being deceptive about it, you would say lovely home, very close to Madison Square Garden, or very close to the university, right? And you just name, whatever that landmark is. Okay, so that's very important as it relates to part of the optimization. Very, very important. Inside of that title, you want to have something that's nice and descriptive, but you also want to tag inside of that title the draw, something in that area that's a big draw and a big reason why people do come. So that way when people are doing their searches, not just on Airbnb, but also in Google, when they're doing their searches, because you've tagged it in your title, then they're more likely to find you versus someone else that just says nice private room in Rochester. Okay? Step number 7. Now that you've optimized your listing properly, what you're going to do next is you're going to determine when you want to welcome your first guest. Now, at this point, remember, because we're trying to get this up and running within 24 hours, most likely you're not going to be ready to welcome your first guest in the next 24 hours. However, you want to have your listing live, right? Let me tell you why. Because once it's live, what you're going to do is you're going to determine at this stage, when do you want to welcome your first guest? That might be a week from now, it might be 2 weeks from now, depending on your schedule, when you're going to be there, when you're not going to be there, and or when you're going to have the space actually ready and available for them to come, right? So if, say, it's going to take you 3 or 4 days, what you're going to do is you're going to go into the calendar of Airbnb, you're going to block off that 3, 4, 5 days, however long you need, and that's it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to unsnooze and finish publishing your listing. So now the beauty of that is, while you're getting your listing up and running, right, and prepared to welcome your guests, Airbnb is serving it out and letting everyone know that it's ready for them. And the first day they can book would be 5 days from now, right? Or whatever day you set. And so now it's being served up to people that are looking for listings in your area, and you're going to be able to start getting bookings and inquiries immediately, right? So think about it. When someone books, what do they have to do? When you approve them, they have to pay Airbnb right there, right then and there. They don't wait until they get here to pay Airbnb. They pay them as soon as you approve that booking. That's money in the bank pretty much, because once they arrive, Airbnb will then electronically deposit the funds that they collected into your account. So that was step number 7 and 8. Now, step number 9 is to watch the activity on your account. You're going to watch it and you're going to see how people are going to start making inquiries right away. They're going to start inquiring about your space. And all you're going to do on your app, right, which is also one of the steps, if I didn't tell you, which I apologize, you should download the app. Once you create your listing, download the app onto your phone. That's going to save you a ton of time, right? But you're going to be watching the app and you're going to be responding to those inquiries on your app, right? So that's it. You don't need to have your computer. It's best to set up your listing on your computer, but then after that, you want to download the app. Okay, and again, to set up your host account, I provided a link right here, and then you can go right over to Airbnb. And then step number 10 is going to be to watch the money start to rack up inside your account. Okay, now you're not going to get your EFT deposits until 24 hours after they check in. However, here's little something that most people don't know, which could be a little bit of a bummer if you get caught with this and you weren't expecting it. And that is what? Airbnb, when you first set up your account, they wait 30 days to deposit your first transaction into your account. And then every day, every transaction after that will come in 24 hours after your guest checks in. It's one of their security measures that your first payment you won't get until 30 days after your first booking, right? So now, I told you I was going to give you a hack. Here's a hack on how that you can speed that process up. So one of the things you can do, remember when you put your listing on snooze, remember it is live, no one can see it though, right? So what you want to do is, if you have a friend or family member that doesn't live in your residence, they can go on and book for one day. For that day, you can even drop your price, right? So that they can book. And what it is basically you're going to utilize that as a way for you to do a couple of things. One, get familiar with how that online process works. Two, you'll be able to get your first review, because after they book, they'll also be able to leave your review, which is very important, right? Getting those reviews makes a big difference when someone else is looking at your listing, right? So when they see reviews, it just makes them more comfortable, right? So when they see positive reviews, so they'll be able to leave you a positive review. And then lastly, your 30-day clock for your payment window is starting to run. So after they've booked, they've checked in, that $20 or however much they paid in order to book your room, your home, or your space, Airbnb has collected that, and now they're running the clock, right? And so if it takes you another 5 days or 7 days or 10 days to get your listing set up so that you can start welcoming your other guests, then your clock has already started running, right? You don't have to wait until you welcome another guest before that 30-day clock runs. So if you take another 10 or 15 days to do that and you welcome your first guest, in 15 days you welcome that first guest, now you only have to wait 15 more days in order for your payment to come. Why? Because you've already spent the first 15 days of your probationary period on that first guest. So that's a great hack. And then after the total 30-day period is up, then every time you book, like everything else that was booked will start coming in 24 hours after they check in, right? And so that's the beauty of Airbnb. And what's nice is when you start getting comfortable and familiar with how to welcome your guests and how to communicate, and you start seeing how that cash flow comes in with Airbnb, you're going to want to begin adding more listings. The thing that I love most about the rental arbitrage strategy is that you don't have to own property in order to have listings on Airbnb. You can rent out more space, and then you can get Airbnb rental income from that space. In most cases, if you use the right formula, is much more than what you would pay to rent that space. And typically what I get is double to triple what I'm renting the space for. So if I'm renting out a whole house and I'm paying $1,200 for that home, I'm at minimum going to be getting $2,400 from Airbnb, so I can pay the rent $1,200, and then I keep $1,200 for myself minus, the utilities or any other fees. And then the other thing is, when you set up your listing properly, you're going to add a cleaning fee that covers what you're going to be paying your cleaner, or paying yourself, or paying your son or your daughter, right? You're going to be adding the cost to take care of that, so that doesn't affect your overall income, right? You're not necessarily looking to make money on your cleaning, but what you want to do is you want to add the cost so that it offsets your expense. And most Airbnb guests are used to that. So as long as your fees are reasonable, then it's not going to pose a problem.